Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. So we're just doing a recap here for the 3.6 special program. As you guys see, we just finished the special program less than a minute ago. It's quite overwhelming, but I'm gonna try to do my best to encapsulate everything for you here. For those of you guys who are on some sort of sideweight copium, thinking that there's gonna be some Dia artifacts coming in patch 3.6, I mean, chat, would you guys say that the second set of artifacts, the HP set with the ones where you get hit, like maybe the copium's hitting me a little bit, but I like with the quick glimpse that we were able to see, it's like I can almost taste, it's palatable, the kind of copium that we're having here, right? It doesn't look like it is, but who knows? I mean, Dia mains at this point will do anything to make her incrementally stronger, and that artifact set did look like to some degree could help her out a little bit. Maybe fitting into the copium just a little bit, but regardless, 2 new sets of artifacts, 2 new bosses, 3 reruns, 2 new characters, 1 new region, our conquest, Nahida quests, right? And I believe there was something like, was there a Layla quest thrown in there as well? There's so much going on. However, the events unfortunately just still feel more so like a chore for you to do as opposed to something that's more concrete. So let's go with the reruns. I'm sure a lot of people are interested. Nahida first phase along with Nilou, followed by the new character Baizhu with Kaveh and Ganyu in the second half. So for those of you guys who are on the fence about Nahida, Nilou, this is your time to kind of snag them up, really, because if they're gone now, I'm pretty sure for the next half a year or so, I'll be hard pressed to see them making a comeback. Now, when it comes to Baizhu, this is his first banner, so there's chance for you to get him another time, right? Maybe within half a year he's gonna come back. So for those of you guys who are more invested into kind of the more core units that are currently working, picking up a Nahida is going to be pretty smart because we don't know what Baizhu is gonna do yet. If you're gonna take a gamble on Baizhu, even if you're looking at information that you're not supposed to be looking at, leaks, it's not guaranteed his performance until he's actually released for play. So for those of you guys who has nothing invested into Dendro supports, maybe Nahida will be the safer bet. Moving on to artifact sets, we got 1 artifact set that boosts hydro damage, and we have 1 artifact set that boosts HP and functions kind of around taking hits and stacking up 5 stacks to do some more damage. But honestly, I have to question the validity and the importance of these artifact sets. I really, from the short moments and glimpses that we were able to see them, didn't feel like they were really targeted towards any specific groups of characters, units, maybe for Baizhu. But now we are on the topic of Baizhu, it's actually quite interesting. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. He is a 5-star Dendro shielder plus healer, right? Like, so I mean, just straight off the bat, that is some wacky design. Like, I've always thought of shielding and healing as 2 separate entities. Either you have a shielder or you have a healer. And HoYoverse said, I'll do you one better. Why not both all slapped together in a 5-star character? Now, prior to this, Diona was the character that's supposed to fulfill this role, and we can actually see how relevant she has stayed with her usage rate and stuff like that. People actively rely on Diona. Although her shield is nothing too impressive, it's still good enough. Her healing was just also good enough, and that's as a 4-star character. The importance of having Diona was also because she was a huge source of cryo particles if you were running Saxord. So overall, I think a lot of the strength from Diona being a shielder healer is now moved onto Baizhu. And also, instead of having Baizhu be more defensive, it seemed like they were even able to weave some Dendro application into his kit. So when his shield was up, when he's playing around his shield and also his elemental skill, there will be this kind of whimsical shot of Dendro elemental energy just floating between the enemies and then returning back to the active character. So Baizhu seems to be a character that encourages off-field play as well, because considering he pops a shield and the shield remains on the on-field character, as well as continuously applies Dendro to enemies, he seems to finally be that character character that alleviates pressure off of Nahida. I said this since Nahida's release, is that we need another Dendro character in the game that can take pressure away from Nahida, can apply Dendro, and also keep your team alive, right? I even said this when Yayo came out. If Baizhu is a 5-star version of Yayo, which he very much is, and then some, it's going to be very good for free-to-plays. I think it doesn't really matter if you pull for Nahida or Baizhu. Both of these characters will serve you incredibly well. If you are cautioning on the safe side, Nahida is probably still the better of the two. However, if you are okay to take a small risk, I do think Baizhu is going to turn out pretty good, better than most people would likely give him credit for. And also, when it comes to Baizhu, he has this really weird talent, where weird in a good way, trust me, where if you are walking around and you see some berries and plants or stuff like that, you can pick it up and it heals you. Say goodbye to the Archon statues. If you're ever low on health, just walk along the side of the road, see some berries, pick it up, eat it, see some apples, see whatever the hell, pick it up, use it. It's going to heal you a little bit. Very useful in my opinion. It's one of the better utility talents out there. Now, talking about Kaveh, for those who care, he is a Claymore character who carries around a briefcase. His gimmick is that he can make Dendro buds explode instantaneously, and instead of hurting him, it somehow heals him. That's pretty much his gimmick. I mentioned in the live stream that potentially he's going to be a great Nilou support, but that hasn't been tested yet, so don't take my word for it. I just in the moment kind of thought about it, but now that I think about it, is he really that good in a Nilou team? Better than some of the other Dendro options, like better than potentially Baizhu in a Nilou team? I don't know. It really seems like to me that Kaveh is in a pretty awkward position where he has a lot of competition in all sectors of Dendro, and all these Dendro characters are so superb that I struggle to find a proper place to put him in, right? So Kaveh is just that. Now, moving on to the bosses, 2 new bosses. One is kind of like a Abyss Herald Lecter hybrid using multi-elemental attacks. Really do not want to see the day where this thing enters the Abyss, but you know HoYoverse, probably within half a year this thing's gonna make it into the Abyss. Good luck with that. But then the more interesting one is that we got a weekly boss, and a weekly boss accompanied with a whole new gimmick, a 3-phase fight. I swear to God, HoYoverse just really hates it when content creators one-shot the entire boss, not giving HoYoverse a chance to even showcase the months of game design that went into creating a boss, right? So they force it into 3 phases. Phase 1 is your normal boss fight. Get it into phase 2, where somehow you're gonna have to defend the boss because it's a corrupted creature. It kind of disappears from the fight, and then you have to protect whatever it left behind. It's kind of glob or something like that from monsters. Very exciting phase 2. I know you guys are dying to play it. Maybe Venti is going to be meta again in this boss. And then phase 3, you're going to have to finish off the boss. So again, people who play Eula, I'm so sorry. Obviously, it's not a boss for you. You're going to have to use your burst 3 times in one boss fight. Good luck with that. Furthermore, we're going to be talking a little bit about the events. The main thing about the event is you're going to be getting a free Fadozan, right? If you play through the main event, you know, the one where you get a crown, you can get a Fadozan for free. So that's very exciting for those of you guys who are still building up towards that C6 Fadozan. This is going to be a freebie for you all. And finally, to end, we do have 2 new monsters as well. They're like, chat calls them the super Hilichurls, but they're the Anemo Hilichurl, and then I believe it was the Hydro Hilichurl. So the Hydro wields a scythe, and Anemo kind of, what did the Anemo even wield? But there's one uses wind, one uses water. They don't seem like incredibly difficult enemies, but I can foresee them making their way into the Abyss, so it's best to get familiar with them prior to getting your ass handed to you in the Abyss by like 5 of these things charging at you all at once. So all in all, to summarize, the patch actually has quite a lot of content. Most people don't seem too excited, mainly because the events and what's at stake here just isn't that high, right? Of course, amazing rerun banners here being Ganyu, Nilou, and Nahida, but that also creates a lot of tension and strain on your wallets. For some of you guys, others, you're saved up Primo Gems. Even though we are getting an entire new sub-region, it doesn't seem like HoYoverse revealed too much about it, although they did link it towards the Archon quest of this patch. It's something like a portal that leads into a sealed away place in the Abyss of some sort, and it leads to some sort of secret when it comes to Khaenri'ah. That's pretty much all we know about it. So if you guys are really curious as to the lore in the game, I think this patch could be a great one, as it once again, it seems to be more revealing rather than setting up more premises. Right, we're at the point in the story where they're kind of giving us more and more answers as opposed to posing more and more questions. In my honest opinion, patch 3.6, if I were to rate it out of 10, I think it's a solid like 7 out of 10 patch. So it's a decent patch for people to play the game. It's a decent patch for you to save up, grind up some primo gems. If you are not interested in the characters right now, you can always wait for Fontaine. It's pretty much just around the corner in the couple of months. We're gonna probably have the Golden Archipelagos still coming up. After this patch, we're truly in the final few filler patches, and the next time anything exciting will happen likely will be when we get to Fontaine in patch 4.0. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel all this time. If you're somebody who constantly watches the channel, make sure to provide answers and support in the comment section. So until next time, I urge you all to stay safe, peace, and bye.